Hey everybody, this is Skoda the Gamer here with another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile. This time it's on my buddy, we call him the Evil Ginger. Well, considering he has red hair. So he's going to be running Necroz in this Regionals today in Toronto as well. So we're going to do a quick deck profile on his deck and how it runs. Alright, Evil Ginger, take it away.
Thanks, Kodo. Hey, the Evil Ginger here. Alright, so yeah, as he was saying, I am running a Necroz deck with a Gishki engine as support. So I'm going to start with the monsters here. Alright, just move this stuff out of the way. So we're going to start with the main backbone of the deck, Shirt GG of the Necroz. He's currently limited at 1, so what he does is he can be used as a entire ritual summon requirement for any one Necroz ritual monster, and so he can be fulfilling for any of the ones that don't specify, which is actually pretty good. And when he's tributed by a card effect, I can add one warrior type Necroz ritual monster from my deck to my hand. So that lets me basically search out some of the main ones like Clausiolus, Bionic, or Trishula. Next, I'm running 2 copies of Dance Princess of Necroz. She's pretty good too. Basically, what she can do is, while she's on the field, my opponent can't activate any cards or effects in response to the activation of a Necroz ritual spell. So basically, while she's sitting on the field, I can safely summon any Necroz ritual monster without it being negated or anything like that. Really good effect, especially considering that it's how it runs. And she's also got the secondary effect of that she's tributed by a card effect. I can target one of my banished Necroz monsters except the Dance Princess and add it back to my hand. Also, ritual monsters I control cannot be targeted by opponent's card effects as well. So she's pretty good all-rounder. I'm running 3 copies of Ariel, Priestess of the Necroz. So what she does is I can reveal any number of Necroz cards in my hand, increase or reduce her level by the number of cards revealed until the end of the term. And so she's really helpful by helping modulate for levels for some of the higher or lower ones, depending on what situation I find myself needing or what ritual monster I'm trying to bring out. And of course, when she's tributed by a card effect, I can add any Necroz monster, not just a ritual monster, like one of the non-monsters, from my deck to my hand. Actually, it does say, except a ritual monster, so one of the non-ones, like Shuret, Dance Princess, another Ariel, or even one of the Pendulum monsters, so it's pretty good. She's a pretty good searcher as well. I'm running 3 copies of Zephyr Saber. He's basically like a built-in ritual spell. I contribute him from my hand or face up on my field. Tribute monsters to ritual summon, so you can do that. Plus pendulum, so I can, if I've got the scale set up, I can just keep reusing them. I've also got 3 copies of Zephyr Saber. He's basically got a special summon effect that lets me bring him out to the field. And of course he's a pendulum too, so he's pretty awesome. I'm running 1 copy of Gishki Ariel. This lets me add a Gishki monster from my deck to my hand, so I can either search out one of my visions or my shadows. I'm running 2 copies of Gishki Vision, as well as 2 copies of Gishki Shadow. I don't really use their secondary effects right now, but I use their primary ones, which is basically they can be used as an entire tribute for a ritual summon. I run 3 copies of Manju of the 10,000 Hands. Basically, when he hits the field, I can summon any search any ritual monster or ritual spell card. So, if I need a Necroz ritual, I can search it out, or if I a specific ritual monster, I can search it out as well. 3 copies of Necroz of Clausiolus. He's one of the lower level ones, one of the weaker ones, but he's got dual effects. I can discard him in a Necroz spell for a trap from my deck to my hand. or during either player's turn, I can target one piece of monster on the field that was special summoned from the extra deck, and until the end of the turn, its attack becomes 0. So spot attack reduction is always good. Unicorn, which is also on the list at 1 at the moment, he's another backbone card. Basically, while he's on the field, I negate any effects of monster special from the extra deck, so that's pretty cool. I've got 1 copy of Cadastor as well. What he does is, if it allows any of my Necroz monsters to basically auto-destroy anything that is special summoned out from the extra deck without damage. Running 3 copies of Brionic. He's pretty cool as well. What he does is he's got a primary effect. I can discard him and to add a Necroz monster from my deck to my hand, except another Brionic. Or I can target up to 2 face-up monsters on the field that were special summoned for the extra deck and bounce them back into the deck. I run 1 Valkyrius. His primary effect is basically he's negate attack, and so that's really awesome. He's got a secondary effect where I can attribute up to 2 monsters from my hand or deck to draw cards, but he's better off for his primary effect. I'm running 2 Trishulas. Trishula is amazing. It has a very similar effect where I can banish a card from my opponent's hand, field, and graveyard automatically.
So it's like the actual Trishula.
Yeah, it is. It's like if there's a certain card that's on the field or in their graveyard or anything that I'm having issues with, I can bring out Trishula to auto remove. 1 copy of Decisive Armor. Decisive Armor's basically a pretty big card. It can, during the player's turn, I can discard it to have any Necroz monster I control gain 1,000 attack until the end of the turn. Or I can target 1 set card my opponent controls and destroy it, and then banish it. So, if I want to toss them for an... Okay, so Decisive Armor is either 1,000 attack boost, or I can just spot banish any card. Lastly, I run 2 copies of Necroz Sophia. She's basically the boss monster of the deck. She's one of the highest level and the highest attack of them all. I don't really use her primary or her discard effect. I use her secondary effect to bring her out, which is when she's ritual summoned, she banishes everything else on the field in the graveyard. So she's basically a complete wiper. I just can't normal special summon anything else in the turn, but I can still attack. And with 3,600 attack, she's gonna do some heavy damage, and it's gonna be hard to come back from for hopefully most of my opponents today. And that is my monsters from my main deck. Next, I'm running my spells. So I've got 3 copies of Necroz Mirror. Basically self-explanatory. It lets me ritual summon any Necroz ritual monster. 3 copies of Kaleidoscope, which is another ritual spell. Basically what I can do is I can use 1 monster, and then I can ritual summon any number of Necroz ritual monsters with levels up to the monster I sent. So the higher the level, the more ritual monsters I can bring out. Pretty good if I want to just mass. 1 copy of Necroz Cycle. I only unfortunately have the 1 copy. What this basically does, it lets me send from monsters from my hand or field to the graveyard, then lets me special summon a Necroz monster from my graveyard that's level exactly equals the levels of the monsters I have. 3 preparations of rites, as well as 3 pre-preparations of rites.
I explained pre-preps in my previous video. But I'll let John explain them here.
So, preparations and pre-preps are basically staples of any ritual deck. They allow any duelist that's running any rituals to search out the ritual spells and ritual monsters necessarily required to actually play anything. Without these, a ritual deck will run somewhat slow, so these are a guaranteed staple backbone of the deck. 3 copies of Fulfillment of the Contract. It's a 800 life point cost equip card. Basically lets me special summon out any ritual monster from my graveyard and equip it with it. So it's kind of like a monster bone of sorts for rituals. Couple of ritual cages I run. Basically what this does is while this thing's on the field, I take no battle damage from any battles involving a ritual monster. And any ritual monsters I control cannot be targeted or destroyed by monster effects. So it protects them from that, and all I have to do worry about is like spell and trap effects after that. I run a couple of copies of Ritual Weapon. Not a very common card you see nowadays. What this does is basically I equipped it to any level 6 or lower ritual monster, so anything from, say, Bionic downwards, and it automatically gives an additional 1500 attack and defense, which, big difference right there. A couple of Ritual Forgons. This is not too bad itself. I pay 1,000 life points for summon ritual monster from my hand, but it can't attack, and it's destroyed during the end phase. I can only activate 1 Ritual Forgon per turn.
But you gotta pay 1,000 life points.
Yeah, it's 1,000 life points, but it's a spot ritual summon. So if there's just, like, if I want a Necroz monster field effect for a turn, I can do this. Say if I want a unicorn for 1 turn or something like that, I can bring it out, and then it's destroyed. Lastly, for spells, I'm running 1 contact. Is it contact? Yeah, contact with the Aquamir. This is a really good card. It's an older one. Basically, if I control a water monster, I can activate 1 effect. But if I control a face-up water ritual monster, which is basically what all these are, except for the Sophia, I can activate both. What it does, it lets me look at all set cards in my opponent's spell and trap zone, and look at the top 2 cards of either player's deck, and return them to the top of the deck in any order. So basically, I can use this to see what they have for a back row on their side of the field, and I can either check my deck or my opponent's deck to see what the next 2 cards are, depending on, and rearrange them in any order. Lastly, I am running 1 trap card in this deck. I'm running 3 copies of Ritual Buster. It's a 1-turn trap that basically lets me I activate whenever I ritual summon anything, and my opponent can't activate any spell or trap cards on or their effects until my next standby phase. So basically, whenever I ritual summon, activate one of these, they can't use any spell and trap effects for that turn, which is pretty good. So it helps deal with any spell or trap issues. If I combo this with Ritual Cage, basically my ritual monsters can go unaffected for at least a turn. Alright, just gonna stick these out of the way. Next, I have my side deck. So I run a Gishki side deck here, just for, as they work really well in tandem with the Necroz, considering they're a ritual-based water thing as well. So I'm running 1 copy of Gishki Abyss. What he does is when he's summoned, I can add a Gishki monster with 1,000 or less defense from my deck to my hand, except an Abyss. So I can search out Shadow, I can search out Vision, I can search out Mollusk. I have 2, which I'm running 2 copies of on my side. What he does is, when he's sent from the graveyard by a card effect, I can look at the top 3 cards from my deck, and then turn them to the top of the deck in any order. So it helps rearrange my next few draws. I've got 1 copy of Gishki Vision here. 2 copies of Chain. Chain's a really good card as well. If it's normal summon, I can look at the top of the cards on my deck, reveal 1 ritual monster or 1 ritual spell among them, add to my hand. Also, that places any remaining cards on top of my deck in any order. So he's like Mollusk, but with a slightly even better effect. 2 copies of Gishki Marker. So what he does, when he's summoned, I can target a Gishki ritual monster or a Gishki ritual spell in my graveyard and add it to my hand. So if I'm running any of my Gishki rituals, I can search out those. I'm running 1 copy of Gust Kraken, 1 copy of Mind Angus, 1 copy of Soul Ogre. Gust Kraken, when it's summoned, I can look at 2 random cards in my opponent's hand, shuffle them into the deck. Mind Angus, when it's summoned, I can target up to 5 cards in any graveyard and shuffle those into the deck. Soul Ogre, I can discard a card, and once per time I can discard a card, 1 Gishki monster to target 1 face-up monster my opponent controls and target into the deck, so they're shuffle removal. basically their field removal. Gishki Aquamir, which is the ritual summon. This is basically the same as Necroz Mirror. 2 copies of Forbidden Arts of the Gishki. It's ritual spell, but it destroys them at the end of the turn, as well as 1 copy of Aquamir Illusion, which is kind of like which is basically special summon a Gishki ritual monster from my hand. It can't attack, and it's returned to my hand during the end phase. And that is my Necroz deck running with a Gishki engine as support.
All right, guys. We will see you in the next video. Take care.